Welcome viewers to another edition of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. In our first clip today, Jemima Ndebele sits down with audiovisual expert Rubben Mabuku, who shares with us his journey and achievements, including setting up a stage for international award-winning artist Burna Boy.
Hi, my name is Rubben Mabuku, an audiovisual engineer. I was born in Katima. I grew up in Windhoek, and I somehow found myself in the audiovisual space doing a lot of creative work and working on amazing projects.
When did you know you want to venture into the audiovisual space creatively?
I don't think I knew when I wanted to get into the audiovisual space. I think I just found myself there. I was working at a club that I was managing actually, and one of the first shows that I got to attend was the KO and Kid X show. That was, I think, back in 2011, 2012. It was organized by the then amazing hip hop artist named KK. Yeah, KK. And the company that did that show is the same company I ended up working for, and that's how I found my way into the audiovisual space.
And how did you end up working for that company?
They sort of stole me from the cinema-ish, right? They had this premiere, the Katutura premiere, back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And because I was the head projectionist at the cinema that time, I knew my way around technology. So I helped some of the tech guys integrate their technology with what we had in the cinema. And the project manager, Zalmarie at the time, was keen on taking me to DB. She literally just said, yo, come work for DB Audio, simply because of what I had done with them for them. And then that's how I found my way to DB Audio.
And you are also an entrepreneur. How did you venture into your business? How did that start?
Well, I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. While I was still fully employed, I have like a huge folder named business ideas, where I constantly put in ideas of how to venture out, run a business, get in extra income here and there. And I think the COVID pandemic is what accelerated it. And I ended up starting Mr. Tech, which is a tech consulting company, which does AV services as well as technical consulting. And that's how I actually started, and that's where I am now. That's what I'm doing. I do a lot of freelance work, not only for my previous employer, DB Audio, but also everybody else in the space, be it the Michael Jazz, the console AVs, and some private clients.
And how many productions and which productions have you worked on?
Yeah, it's hard to keep count. These days, I can do a production last week, and this week I already forget that I did that. So I've done quite a lot, over 100,000, not 100,000, but like over 100 or 1,000 shows. And I think some of my favorites off the top of my head, simply because it was in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I'll probably go on and talk about, the Sam Smith, The Weeknd, the Guns N' Roses, a legendary rock band. Back home, I would have to say stuff like the Burna Boy. I know everybody loved it. Cassidy Caron, sorry. He had Youngster on his show. Gaza Milli's concert, dope. I did a lot of the Namas since 2015. I've also done a lot of the jazz festivals since 2015. In fact, all of them up until they stopped. So yeah, I've done quite a few. Actually, most of the shows I'm talking about now are just entertainment shows, but like the corporate side, those are still productions, those are still shows. So a lot of big international conferences. I remember the UNESCO conference back in 2016 or 17. That was quite big because we had to live stream all the way to Europe from here.
And what was that experience like for you?
The UNESCO?
Yes.
due to the fact that it was 2016, right? The internet that was provided at that time, bro, it was probably 5G, and it was fast. Like, it's the internet we have now that I had access to in 2016, and for me, I was just mind blown. And I love being in conferences because as much as I'm a creative and a tech guy and a music guy, sitting in different conferences, either from the financial sector, the medical sector, or just any other sector, you get to learn a lot because a lot of people pay to go to these productions and conferences, and we get paid to do them. And that's just free knowledge being poured into you from the speakers, the MCs, how just people carry themselves, the networking in those rooms. It's quite interesting to see and, experience.
With the networking that you mentioned, do you see it contributing to where you want Mr. Tech to be in the next 5 years?
Definitely. Just last week, I got to sit down in a conversation and lock down something that I am bringing out next year regarding Mr. Tech, and it's all attributed to the networking, man. And there's a lot of people that will actually go out of their way to help you to do something and get you where you are supposed to be and help you realize some of your aspirations and goals and dreams. And I believe it's because of the networking and the things I've been doing for a lot of these people over the last few years that they are willing to do that for Mr. Tech.
And what difference has your craft and your gift made in your community, or how have you tried to use your craft and your gift to make a difference in your community?
I have currently been running, how should I say this? It's more paid to play services. Back at my previous employer, we used to call it paid to play. So basically, I try to bring on as many young people as possible to work with me on a lot of my different projects, just to give them exposure to an alternative career that exists that most Black people don't have access to. You know, as a Black Caprivian child, you grew up being told you can be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, those normal societal careers that I accepted, you know what I mean? And me finding myself in this space doing what I do is quite interesting because I love it. Not only do I love it, but it's an alternative to what the Black child has been told to be, you know, and that also opens up a lot of creativity from the young people that I work with as well as myself.
And where do you draw your inspiration from? Because I mean, you have to be creative and innovative all the time. What inspires you?
Man, a lot of time it comes from music. I listen to a lot of music, so a lot of these things really just pour in. I feel that whenever I listen to music, there's a lot of, inspiration and downloads happening. Some of my craziest ideas have come from me listening to music, because I don't listen to music just sonically. I also listen to music visually. I could be listening to a song, but I'm seeing things and what I would want to do if something like that happened. Some of them come from conversations with some of my closest friends, and I think mostly music and conversations.
And how do you manage to balance your personal life with your hectic career?
Man, I think my career has now been tied to my personal life. A lot of people have rather attached my career to my personal life, hence the whole AV connoisseur tagline on Instagram. And I live and breathe AV, you know what I mean? So I live music, I breathe visually. And for me, attaching that to my personal life just helps me navigate it better by whether I'm hanging out with my son or hanging out with friends, talking about, podcasts and shows and music and videos and all of that. So I think it has really become a part of that. Because in my personal life, I grew up singing in choirs, in quartets, duets, trios. The only thing I could never do was sing a solo in church because I'm quite shy, man. I'm an introvert. So yeah, I grew up around a lot of the things I'm doing now. It's just I'm doing them professionally now.
And what advice would you give to some young person, any young person that's starting out in the industry?
If you're starting out in this industry that I'm in, honestly, just be patient, step out. It is very difficult in this industry to go out and claim and say, look, this is how much I want to be paid. This is how much I want you guys to respect me. Because a lot of times these things have to come with receipts. They have to come with, graduation papers. And I'm not talking about school graduation papers. I'm talking about the industry graduation papers, where the old heads, the big companies, the corporates all give you a nod and say, look, this guy knows what he's doing. And that's when you can actually step out and do your thing. But don't forget to learn, be curious, click every button, and just play, man. That's why it's called pay to play. Just play around with everything and anything you have at your disposal.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
Take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia, when we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians sharing their stories. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and Oneuptwo.com, and broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with the entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Next, we head to France. Christine Creer recently caught up with Namibian Herbert de Klerk, who is loving working on a yacht in that country.
Hallo julle, ek is Herbert de Klerk. Ek kom van Namibia af en ek is 21 jaar oud. Ek wil net graag vir julle vertel van my avontuur waarop ek gegaan het met my yachting sover. Ek het eers in 2021 het ek Suid-Afrika toe gaan in Kaapstad. Toe het ek my yachting kursus gaan doen daar, die advanced deckhand course, daarmee het ek begin en 'n hele paar ekstra kursusse gedoen. En van daar af was dit maar redelike gesukkel om my visa te doen en alles. En daarmee het ek besluit om eers Spanje toe te gaan, Palma de Mallorca. En ek het daar opgeëindig en toe het ek vir 2 maande lank dogwalking gedoen en werk gesoek. En uiteindelik het ek op 'n 65 meter seilyacht werk gekry, 'n permanente posisie, waar ek gewerk het vir 5 maande. En daarna het ek bietjie werk op ander bote gedoen en so aan. En toe bietjie teruggegaan in Desember vir vakansie en toe het ek besluit, okay, nuwe jaar, nuwe beginne, so ja, toe doen ek weer aansoek, maar vir 'n werksvisa, want ek het al klaar werk gehad op 'n boot in Palma. Toe gaan ek terug en ja, ek het daar gewerk vir 2 maande hierdie jaar en toe het ek ook bietjie aansoek gedoen vir nuwe werk en so aan en toe het ek op 'n 80 meter werk gekry in Frans en toe het die kaptein hulle my ingevlieg en ja, ek is nou al 2 maande hierso en dis fantasties en ja, nee, mense sien die wêreld en dis great. Ek sal dit vir enigiemand aanbeveel wat dit graag wil doen. Mens, ek bly verniet, ek eet verniet, so letterlik die goeie geld wat mens verdien, gaan alles in jou sakke en ja, dis goeie spaargeld en ek meen, op sulke jong ouderdom om die wêreld te sien en geld daarvoor te kan verdien, is letterlik net die beste om voor te kan vra. In die Kaap toe, terwyl ek my kursus gedoen het ek die Deckhand Advanced kursus gevat en dit als behels, ja, nou moet ek eers mooi dink, dit was jetski instructors lisensie wat ek gedoen het, ek het my powerboat level 2 gedoen, my tender ops is om die boot in die aand te ry, en my STCW gedoen wat firefighting en first aid behels en net safety van die boot en alles. So daai kursus moet mens elke 5 jaar hernie. Ek het my ENG1 gedoen. Dis net 'n medical toets om te sê jy is fit vir die werk en ja, ek het nog 'n hele paar ander kursusse. Ek het 'n houtwerkkursus ekstra gedoen, spesifiek omdat ek op Kriel gewerk het, wat die 65 meter seiljacht was, in Palma, waar ek elke liewe dag opgestaan het, en letterlik net projekte afgeskuur het, en gewaarnies het, die hele boot, so, ja, nee, en hierso, het ek al baie geleer, hoe om nuwe siekeflex in te sit, cooking vir die teak, en al die light fittings, oor nuwe cooking ingesit, en ja. Op die seiljacht in Palma waar ek was ek deel van 'n 16-man crew. Die boot het ongelukkig nêrens heen beweeg nie, dit was 'n private boot, so die boot het heeltyd gestaan, maar op die ander 2 bote wat ek gewerk het ons bietjie uitgegaan, partykeer vir 3 dae charters, partykeer 'n week, so daar het ons net deur die Balearic Islands gegaan, bietjie Ibiza getoer, en ja, nee, dit was baie lekker. Ek het die gaste gevat op tenderruns en het hulle uitgehelp met die water toys, en op die boot waar ek nou is 'n 80 meter motoryacht. Ek is deel van 'n 25 man span, en ja, ons is so 6 deckhands. Ek is deel van die deckhand span, en ons is in charge van al die water toys, om te anker, en om die boot skoon te hou, en net te prepare vir die gaste, en dan as die gaste opkom, dan ja, haal ons al die water toys uit. Ek is 'n jetski instructor, so ja, ek help die mense daarmee, so ja, nee, dit is nogals baie lekker, en my dag tot dag lyk nogals goed. Ek begin 8 uur in die oggend te werk, en dan maak ons 5 uur klaar. Of course, as ons op charter gaan, dan werk dinge bietjie anderster uit. Maar ja, nee, as jy elke kry 'n watchbeard, so ja, dan hou jy nou maar oogie oor die boot en so aan. Maar ja, ek is in Nice op die oomblik, en ons gaan binnekort shipyard toe, net vir bietjie maintenance op die boot, en daarna het ons 'n charter. Ons gaan die Met toer, so hierdie jaar gaan ons bietjie Greece toe, ons gaan Italy toe, en hopelik gaan ons die Monaco Grand Prix gaan kyk van die Formule 1's, so nee, ek sien baie uit vir die jaar wat voor lê. Dankie julle.
take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia as we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and Oneuptwo.com, as well as broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you know of someone you feel should feature on our show, please contact us at brave@synergy.com.na.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and